I'm Thad Brown. This is Carl Jones. It's time for Buffalo Campday Recap. This is day 2 of Bills Camp. A little rainy day. It rained for probably most of practice. Wasn't the worst in the world, but definitely a significant rain. May have had an impact on how the offense did today because it was not the best day ever for Josh Allen or the offense. Started slow, a couple interceptions in there. But there was one sequence, back-to-back plays, Josh Allen rolling to his right, finds a wide open Dalton Kincaid for like 30 yards. Then very next play, Josh chased from the pocket, throws a ball to Dawson Knox on the sideline in a spot where only Knox had a chance. Knox makes a superb toe-tapping catch. And Carl, even though it wasn't the whole day for the offense, that little sequence is kind of what this team is hoping to be this year.
Yeah, especially, you bring in a guy like Kincaid who you hope transforms the offense a little bit, especially the middle of the field, and be another secure outlet for Josh Allen. So it was encouraging to see those two plays from that position group at that point in practice, because before that, like you talked about, drops, like missed throws. The DBs were making good plays as well, so I don't want to take too much credit away from them. But early on, practice wasn't great, whether it's the rain or just early on in the year, not all on the same page with everyone. So it was encouraging that the two guys outside of Stephon Diggs that you bring here, and you want this team to transform a little bit, they made plays when they need to be.
Yeah, you look at how this team is going to be set up on offense. Obviously, Diggs is the number one, but after that, it does start to feel like that the Knox-Kincaid combo is what will be the number 2 option. Look, Gabe Davis talked today about how his high ankle sprain last year really hampered him all year. I really kind of have my doubts about, how much we're going to put on a high ankle sprain week 2, killing a whole year. But, if he says it and thinks it, obviously that's an important part of, going into playing how you feel individually. But if it's not Davis, those 2 tight ends, I think, can be the group that has the impact. I
look at the Chiefs from last year, and obviously they didn't really have an alpha number 1 receiver. But what they did have is obviously Travis Kelce. I don't think there's a Travis Kelce on the Bills right now.
Right.
But they had a lot of depth at tight end. They transformed how they played. When Tyreek Hill was the year prior, vertical passing threat offense, and they were able to dink and dump their way down the field last year. And I think Patrick Mahomes led the league in passing. So you can build a really prolific passing attack with your tight ends. So obviously it helps when you have a guy like Stephon Diggs. But I am encouraged to see how they're able to implement a first-round pick and a guy like Knox, who at his worst has been a serviceable tight end. Hopefully he can be much better with a running mate next to him.
Buzzword for formation this year, I think you're going to hear, is 13 personnel. Chiefs ran a lot of 3 tight end, not a lot, but relatively a lot. All right, let's flip it to the defensive side of the ball, because as we both kind of hinted at, some of the offensive struggles were just the defense playing well, and you saw it a little more than I did, but we both saw multiple plays where it was just defensive backs in position, guys being where they're supposed to be, not allowing throwing lanes, not allowing plays to be completed. And I think Josh Allen in a couple spots had a situation where all he's got left is to force something. That's the only thing he had. So give credit to, I thought Dane Jackson had a really good day. Jordan Poyer had a spectacular interception. But they say that early in camp, defense is ahead of the offense, and I think that's what we've seen so far.
I just loved it. I'm sorry. For those at home, I played defensive back in my day, so I just love when they dominate practice like that. But Kaiir Elam also had a great play early on, I believe, in the 7-on-7 period where he undercut a route, led to a pick by, I believe, Cam Lewis. So it was encouraging to see, especially with that cornerback room. It's a lot of competition. Especially at that CB2 spot, Dane Jackson, Christian Benford, and Kaiir Elam. All 3 of those guys are competing to play opposite of Trey White. So they're all making plays thus far. Obviously the pads aren't on yet. They're still in pajamas, that's what I like to call them. But they're making plays. I've been seeing encouraging things. And also that Jordan Poyer interception was at a pivotal time, because we talked about earlier about those 2 nice plays that Kincaid and Knox had. Poyer was the very next play.
Yep.
The very next play. So any of that offensive momentum that the offense could have used after practice, all pro post stifled that really fast. So that was encouraging to see that both sides of the ball were going back and forth. And I know it was raining, but it was raining for the defense as well. So you still have to react to that type of stuff. So I'm going to give them their flowers for being able to, put your feet in the dirt and be able to get out of breaks and make plays on the ball when need be.
It's been big, too, that the guys who are making plays, it's not Trey White. I don't remember Trey White making a play either the first 2 days. The guys I've been noticing are Dane Jackson, Kaiir Elam, Christian Benford. So, if you're going to have to pick another starter from that group, at this point it feels nice that those guys are the ones performing so far. Let's talk a little bit about the defensive rotation. Those 3 guys, more so Benford and Elam, are spending a lot of time first team, second team, first team. I think Benford's had more first team stuff than Elam so far. But at linebacker, the rotation's bananas. It's Dotson and Spector, and then it's Williams and Spector, and then it's Klein, and Milano's out there a lot too. But we are seeing the Bills try out everything. And then not only that, it'll be Dotson and Spector with Hyde and Poyer behind them. Then the next snap, it's Dotson and Spector with Hamlin and Taylor Rapp. So It's been crazy, the rotation. And, Mitch Morse talked yesterday about the rotation on the offensive line, that not to get too wrapped up in it because they're trying things out. They want to see who can make plays. I really feel like the Bills are trying to, as much as possible, give everybody an opportunity, especially at linebacker, to prove themselves early in this camp.
Especially with the different roles, especially the communication aspect of it. I saw early on, I think Dotson was at Mike and then Terrell Bernard was at Will. But other plays, I believe that was Klein that was in there at Mike, who's the communication, calling the defense. So it is intriguing that everyone's getting a shot at calling the defense, calling the plays, relaying it to everyone else, because you're not always put in those positions. So when you're rotating and all that good type of stuff, you're put in different roles. You're being a little bit uncomfortable, coming out of the box a little bit. It also helps that you have a veteran like Milano who doesn't need every single snap on the second day of camp. It also helps you have two safeties who've been in the league a decade plus at this point. So it allows Taylor Rapp, it allows Damar Hamlin and those other guys to get reps and move around and interchange a little bit. I think I saw Micah Hyde with a towel around his neck more than I saw him more than I saw him running around today. So that has been very beneficial to all the young guys who are competing for a job, because once week one rolls around, I'm pretty sure they are confident that Micah Hyde, Poyer, and Milano, those three in particular, will be fine.
Cam Lewis, by the way, today got a couple reps at safety ahead of Damar Hamlin. Hamlin is not a lock to make this roster. As much as I'm sure the Bills and everybody else don't want to see him get released, it is not a guarantee that he's on this team come September. Now, today was offensive coordinator day for the press conferences. Ken Dorsey spoke to the media, and Carl, he started by talking about year one and year two and how things could and maybe he's hoping will change going forward.
I think Bills Mafia, you guys should look at that answer, because I'm sure you guys will be very intrigued, because everyone, including us, everyone in that building as well, wanted to know what he thought of last year's team and how he's going to improve, because regardless of what the stats say and what we may believe, the offense just didn't look the same.
And the stats look good. I mean, that's the thing. The stats were better than the year before.
But now he admitted that he feels more comfortable. Instead of thinking and all that type of stuff, it's just second nature now, that he hopes, not just from a play calling perspective, but looking at defense. He's hoping that the players are more receptive of how he's coaching, because he's a different style than Brian Daboll. So I thought that entire, I believe it was like 90-second opening statement or question that he was given was very intriguing, especially from a guy who is very calculated with how he speaks. As you know, he's not going to give you an answer that he hasn't thought about before. Mm-hmm. So he's clearly been sitting on this for about 8 months and how he's wanted to just approach this new year, because he is more comfortable. I mean, I believe we were sitting in the same spot last year. The statistic about first-year play callers who won a Super Bowl, there's not many. I don't think there is one, if there is one. So the fact that he has a year under his belt, driving the Ferrari, that is Josh Allen, all the weapons that are around him, a little bit more comfortable, terminology, practice, he's in a new position and all that good type of stuff. So it was intriguing to see him pull back the curtain a little bit and reveal that he is more comfortable driving that fast Lamborghini.
Second year play callers, by the way, don't fare much better than first year, but it is still better. It is still better. The other thing Dorsey said today that I was interested in was a question about James Cook. He talked about Cook as, quote, every down running back, as a guy who doesn't, the defense's antenna doesn't go up when he's on the field. Maybe saying that, look, he's not going to be just a third down back when we bring him out there, we're going to throw. And he also complimented Cook's ability to grind out yards and run between the tackles. Now, I'll tell you what, the last part, I don't remember him doing much last year. I really don't know what Ken Dorsey's talking about, because Devin Singletary got every third and short run last year. But doesn't mean that Cook can't do it or hasn't done it in practice. So on the one hand, me personally, looking at Cook as a guy that's much lighter than most number one running backs, 190 pounds, as a guy who, I've talked about this in a couple different spots on content before, that he's not a guy that really makes yards by himself behind the line of scrimmage. Downfield is different. I don't trust him as an every down lead, big time, carry the workload back. You want to make him a 50-50 back? Absolutely. But what I think and what the Bills think doesn't have to always jive. And certainly if I'm the fantasy manager in me, heard that and said, Cook just went up a bunch of ADP in my draft coming up this year.
That was the first thing I thought about. I'm like, man, I'm not saying that I'm going to draft him, but if I did, I'll draft him a little bit higher than I thought. I mean, I know conventional wisdom says that a guy his size and his profile isn't supposed to get the 70% of the I don't want to say just carries, but touches in general. I just don't see it. I really don't, especially with a guy like Damian Harris, who backup 1A, 1B, whatever you want to call him, has proven to be a viable player in this league. I don't want to just take him off the field just because I think Cook is some superb back. I think he's fine. He's solid. Maybe he takes a sophomore leap and becomes the back that the Bills envision, which is very possible. I mean, this is just practice, and the games are totally different.
Right.
But like you said, the profile don't lie, man. He will be a really anomaly to be a guy that they envision, or they're talking about at least. So.
All right, it's time to hand out our turkey burgers every practice. We hand them out like Buckeyes, Ohio State, if you've heard of that, the little stickers on the helmet. If you do make a good play, you get a turkey burger. We're going to keep track of who gets turkey burgers every practice. We'll have a standings page as we get a little later on in practice. Day 2, not that much right now. I'll go first. My first turkey burger, Quentin Morris. A superb one-handed grab over the middle today. You thought the pass was tipped. It might have been. I don't know. There were definitely hands in his way.
I think it's more impressive that it was tipped. The concentration is still one-handed.
We talk a lot about, we did today, just now, Knox and Kincaid being weapons. If you have Morris as that third weapon, and you want to put 3 tight ends on the field, and again, if you want to look into 13 personnel, do a little research on what the Chiefs did last year, it's fascinating what 13 personnel can offer. It's really 12 personnel on steroids, but that's a whole deeper conversation. Regardless, you get another tight end like that on the team, and let's say Knox gets hurt or Kincaid gets hurt, you still have a guy that you can go to run that 12 personnel. So Morris shown a little bit today.
I'm going to stick in the tight end room for my, not Buckeye, turkey burger. Dawson Knox. That play we talked about earlier, toe drag swag on the sideline, nice dime where only he could catch it. Once again, the Bills are going to need that room to step up, and if they can transform it and just having like a curveball. Obviously, they love to live in a spread world, but just have different ideas and different ways you can attack a defense, because the Chiefs, although we do know them to be the spread team, spread you out, all right, sometimes we'll just bring all the big dudes in here and then get you that way. So I do think it's encouraging to see that the first 2 days of practice, that room is shined.
Turkey burger for me for Greg Rousseau. Had a couple of back-to-back pressures. He was very good last year on stunts inside, and lo and behold, he had what I think would have been a sack on Josh Allen, stunting inside. Now, to be fair, like you said, guys are still in pajamas today, so it's hard to look at anything that happens either line and make any conclusions, but Rousseau stood out for us today, so he gets the turkey burger for me.
In my last turkey burger, all-pro poll, that interception was beautiful. Josh Allen got a little greedy, tried to get in between the corner and the safety over there on the sideline. Poyer's like, hold on, I've seen this play like 10,000 times in my life. I don't know what you're doing right here. I'm not the guy to mess with. Picked it off. It probably would have been a pick 6. A very impressive play. I believe it was targeted towards Trent Sherfield, but nonetheless, encouraging to see, especially when the offense had a lot of momentum at that point in practice, and then the captain says, all right, we nip this in the bud and let's take over practice.
My last turkey burger, Dane Jackson, had a couple of pass breakups early, and I think both times were plays where he just did his job in the right position, in the defense, taking away passing lanes, and give the guy credit. We're only 2 days into camp, but so far he's pulling a Levi Wallace and continues to stiff arm all the competition. Yeah, exactly. He's been the guy that's been by far the one who's been on the first team more with Trey White, even though Kyrie Elam's a first-round pick, even though Christian Benford made plays, and I think his stock is rising, Dane Jackson continues to hold down that first-team spot and was really good again today.
When are we getting turkey burgers? I know we were giving them out, but when do we get them?
We have to do something really good. This is day 2 for us.
No, I'm talking about our food. Like, when are we getting them?
Oh, we got the fish today. We got the catfish thing today.
I want turkey burgers, though.
I don't know if we're going to get them again this year.
All right, well, I need to make some calls.
Stay tuned for that. We'll see if turkey burgers enter the media meal rotation. Stuff's been good. We had tacos yesterday and fish and pasta today. I don't know if fish and pasta go together, but they were both good.
I'm not complaining, I'll tell you that.
Food was excellent. Okay, thanks for watching Buffalo Campday Recap. This is day 2. We'll be back again tomorrow. For Carl Jones, I'm Thad Brown. Click on something else here at rockfordfirst.com.